God bless America. Hello, everybody. I am the Talk Radio Protege. This is the Protege program. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about what I apparently missed on Friday. And boy, howdy, did I miss a gem on Friday, apparently. So, what have we been talking about over the last week? We've been talking about the child illegal immigrant crisis, quote-unquote crisis, at the border. We've been talking about quote-unquote family separation. Because I promise you, not all of these people that are being separated are family. That's what we've been talking about. And there have been a lot of people defending these policies by the president, yours truly included. And some of these individuals are very public figures who people can't help but recognize. For instance, Homeland Defense Secretary, is it Kirstjen Nielsen or Kristen Nielsen? It's Secretary Nielsen was shouted out of a Mexican restaurant while she was having what appeared to me by the level of daylight outside the restaurant to be lunch. Maybe it was dinner. Her house was protested outside of. You know, people were blaring the sounds of crying children on megaphones outside of Secretary Nielsen's house. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was asked to leave a restaurant in Virginia. What else has there been? Stephen Miller's phone number was doxed, I think is the word for it. Somebody gave out Stephen Miller's phone number. And people have been lamenting the degradation of civil discourse in the United States of America. And let me tell you that this is not the beginning of the degradation. The degradation's been going on for a long time. And it's not just the mudslinging. It's not just the name-calling. It's not just the lies. Excuse me. It's not just the mainstream media that's been participating in this degradation of civil discourse. And it always starts on the side that wants to be more authoritarian. By the way, there's been two sides that are trying to have civil discourse in this country. As our politics have moved farther and farther away from each other to be more and more diametrically opposed, we've had one side that has slowly but surely ceased to fathom that the other side of the issue are generally good people. And I'll give you three guesses as to which side it is, and the first two don't count, and if you don't get it right, then you're on the wrong side. Who is the side that is doing the name-calling as far as calling people evil goes? You know, I've always been one to say that the rank and file on the left are not bad people. They're misguided. I've been one to say that the leadership in terms of the rank and file in the past, in terms of the left rather, the leadership of the left in the past have been misguiding their rank and file. Now, as the newest generation of the left has come up, and the next generation of leadership in the left has come up, I think they're more and more genuine believers in what they've been preaching, and what the old leadership of the left preached but did not believe. The new leadership of the left preaches and believes. So, but the rank and file are generally good people. There are not commentators on the left that will say the same about me. I consider myself at this point in time to be a member of the rank and file of the right. And the commentary coming from the left is that the rank and file of the right is evil. Now, I have this as the last tab of my internet right now, but this was on MSNBC on Friday. They had a panelist who said that Trump voters, not that Trump was a Nazi, that Trump voters were Nazis. He said, if you vote for Trump, you're the bad guy. So it is the belief of it is the discourse from the left that the rank and file of the right are not good people. They are bad people, according to the left. This even as far back as, I mean, you could say that Hillary Clinton called the rank and file Trump voter deplorable. Obama called the rank and file Trump voter bitter clingers. Now, at least you can say that maybe when he said that people were bitter clingers, he was saying that they're scared of change. And that might not make somebody a bad person. It might just make them slower to adapt to change. You can, being generous with Obama's remarks, you could say that he is not calling Republicans bad people. But you can't say that anymore. You can't even be generously say that. You can't say that Deutsch was not calling Trump voters bad people. He is verbatim calling Trump voters bad people. He doesn't believe that the rank and file Republicans are good people anymore. And as this comes out, you're going to have more and more people believe this. It starts in the leadership. The leadership says some form of rhetoric, and the rank and file begins to believe it. So the rank and file are going to eventually believe that the rank and file Republicans are bad people. And the rank and file Republicans are going to see what's happening from the left and are going to slowly believe that they're no longer good people. If Maxine Waters is able to turn her voters into the kind of people that she's talking about turning them into, I don't think it will be reasonable to say that the rank and file left are good people. At a rally, Maxine Waters told her supporters this: if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd and you push back on them and you tell them that they're not welcome anymore anywhere. Later telling MSNBC that protesters are going to absolutely harass them. Now, if I'm not mistaken, harassment is law breaking. It is against the law, if I'm not mistaken, to harass someone. So now we have people advocating for breaking of the law. I don't know if I've said this in a video, but I think it should, at the absolute minimum, not be socially acceptable to advocate for breaking of the law, if it should not be illegal in and of itself. In most other realms of speech, I'm an absolutist, and I believe speech should be free. But when it comes to advocating for people to violate the law, I think I can be excused if I think that that should be illegal. Now, I don't want to spend this entire video lamenting the breakdown of civil discourse in the United States of America, because I think plenty of people are doing that so far. And I didn't take notes in preparation for this video, so I hope I can remember what it was that I wanted to spend all my time on. No, I wanted to point to this, and I wanted to say that this is a sharp departure from 1 year ago, even as recently as a year ago. You might remember a certain gunman who went to a certain baseball field near Washington, D.C., and opened fire on that baseball field and wounded some congressmen who just happened to be Republicans. According to some reports, this fellow asked who was practicing on the baseball field before he opened fire on those individuals. This person was a Bernie Sanders supporter, And Bernie Sanders had not advocated for anybody to move to violence. To his credit, he had not urged people to go open fire on Republicans. Their rhetoric is harsh, to be sure. When people like Bernie Sanders and Nancy Pelosi say that Republicans are going to have blood on their hands, that people are going to die because of their policy, I think some fringe lunatics can be excused for thinking that it's incumbent upon them to defend the people that are going to die because of Republican policy. But at least they weren't outright calling for violence, for law-breaking. Maxine Waters has now left the reservation, as it were. She has taken, as I said, a sharp turn away from the rhetoric of even a year ago, and is now openly advocating for people to break the law, for people to get into heated conflict with their political opponents. And I just remembered one of the things that I want to talk about. So we're going to get to it. But how long is it going to be before a harasser goes and harasses a Republican who is not going to take this crap? You know, it's one thing to shout at somebody because you disagree with them politically. I think it's another thing to slander somebody in public and disrupt their evening. And someday, a Republican is going to have enough of this, and they're going to punch one of these harassers, or they're going to get in a shouting match with one of these harassers, and they're going to get up in the face of one of these harassers, and the environment is going to be tense at this moment. Somebody is going to throw the first punch. Maybe it will be the Republican, maybe it will be a Greg Gianforte style encounter. Maybe one of the leftists will throw the first punch. Somebody is going to feel like their life is being threatened and is going to elevate the situation. And somebody is going to get shot. Somebody is going to die. And people like Maxine Waters will be on tape advocating for people to go cause trouble. I'm not saying that you should carry a gun in the event that a leftist comes and shouts at you and interrupts your evening. But I don't think that anybody should be left defenseless in the face of an angry mob. And somebody is going to get shot, and somebody is going to pay the price for this rhetoric that Maxine Waters is now pushing. The rhetoric that we get accused of all the time, the left is now fully and hypocritically, I might add, embrace. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, please don't tell me that I forgot already. Oh, let it not be said that I'm inconsistent. It is my opinion that a business owner may reserve the right to refuse service to anybody for any reason. If I don't like the way your breath smells, I ought to be able to eject you from my business. It's my business. It's a private business. It's called the private sector. It's not the public sector. I'm not a public business. I'm a private business. I should be able to kick you out if I don't like the color of your teeth. If I don't like the way that ear gauge looks in your ear. If I don't like your man bun, I should be able to kick you out of my private establishment. So I fully support the right of the Red Hen, or whatever that restaurant was in Virginia, to kick out Sarah Sanders because they don't agree with her politics. Fine. Do whatever you want. Let's let the market decide if people are going to come and visit you from now on. Just like I fully support the Masterpiece Cake Shop right to refuse to serve gay couples, I support the right of the Red Hen to refuse to serve Sarah Huckabee Sanders. As long as you support my right to not serve Chuck Schumer when he comes in. And it seems interesting to me. There's been a little bit of hypocrisy on both sides, I think. There have been some people on the right getting up in arms and saying that the Red Hen should not have served Sarah Sanders. Now, if you're ideologically consistent and you think there's no reason for Masterpiece Cake Shop to not serve a gay couple, while you think there is no reason for Sarah Sanders to not be served by the Red Hen, more power to you. I happen to think that businesses should be able to reserve the right to refuse service to anyone for any reason. If you think that there should be protected classes of individuals and that businesses should not have the right to refuse service to those people, that's fine. I respectfully disagree, and I'm fine with that. But then you've got the left who are applauding the Red Hen for kicking Sarah Sanders out of their restaurant, while decrying Masterpiece Cake Shop for refusing to serve gay people. At the same time, you've got some people who are on the right who are being a little hypocritical, who are saying that Masterpiece Cake Shop should be allowed to refuse people because of his religious convictions, but the Red Hen should not be able to kick Sarah Sanders out because of her political convictions. Now, maybe you say that religious conviction is one thing and political ideology is another. Maybe that's an argument that we need to have. I just happen to think that all business owners should be able to reserve the right to refuse service to anyone for any reason. If you think there should be classes of people that are exempted from having service refused to them, or classes of people who should be allowed to refuse service to politically protected classes for whatever reason, then, let's have that discussion. I think that discussion could be had. I think that that's a lot more shaky of a ground than to say there should be people who are absolutely protected and some people who absolutely are not. And I also think that's more shaky of ground than to say that you should be able to reserve the right to refuse service to anybody. But that's a different debate from saying, yeah, Masterpiece Cake Shop should be able to refuse service to gay people, but no, the Red Hen should not be able to refuse service to Sarah Sanders. And that's going to do it for this video. We kind of hit a whole bunch of different points, and I kind of meandered around because I didn't have time to take notes today. But anyhow, I hope that you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Hit subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so that you don't miss a single video. Make sure that you check back every weekday for a new report, because you never know what you might be missing out on. Again, thank you so much for watching. Come back and join me tomorrow. Until then, good night and God bless.